Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Limbus Company reaction. Today we have Leviathan. This one had easily the most overall requests and people liking comments. There were a few comments saying that Leviathan was the one to listen to, and every single one of them had a bunch of likes on it. And a lot of people also wanted me to listen to Boss 2 and Boss 3, but I figured I might as well save those for potentially the next one if you guys definitely want to hear those, and this was just the bigger choice out of all those. But either way, I'll be listening to Leviathan. I know this one is the motif that connects to the one I just listened to, so that's going to be interesting to hear where that source comes from and see how all that connects. And I guess without further ado and enough yapping, let's go. Okay, already got the layers going on. That's an interesting sample. Appreciate a good gallop. This is built so differently. Ooh. Getting the breather. Where is this going? This has so many changes. We're only halfway through and it's already had like 3 or 4 different significant changes. They keep layering all those percussive sections. Like, you get the constant, like, gallop in the back here that... What's going on with this? It's like syncopating. That's so cool. Second half was definitely more of a repeat. Or I spoke too soon. That was new. Thought it was a copy paste. It was not. Threw in some things. Yo, all right, so that's where the layers come from. Now it all makes sense. My favorite part of this has to be how this is the original for sure, obviously, like the comment said. But the other version, now that I have that in hindsight and I'm able to compare the two, the other one, the boss theme version of it, where it had that like chromatic climb and it was affecting itself and kind of making half steps, whereas this version was a more standard traditional like writing of what I would expect that theme to sound like. It's like I was hearing an undistorted version of something I'd already heard with like a bunch of aging and slight changes, something that has been corrupted already, which I guess makes sense since this is the original theme and that was a boss theme, so that would have been the evolution of this. Which is really weird because I usually try my best to keep songs chronologically in order when I know that they're coming up and they have a leitmotif from something else, and this was one of the few that I didn't, so it was odd hearing that there was a motif that was being borrowed, and then now hearing that and just putting that all into place in my head, and just hearing this song in its original form gives me so much context to the other one now. I can feel where the layers of this one affected the the layers of the boss theme, I can feel where the melody overall was being borrowed and kind of distorted and cranked in certain ways. And like I said, kind of tearing down that chromatic structure and just making it feel just a little off, you know? Like this was beautiful in its own kind of dark way, and that was a mess in a beautiful way. They're the perfect like opposites of each other, the antithesis of each other, borrowing from such a beautiful, traditionally gorgeous song and kind of taking it to the boss theme and just tweaking everything about it that made it feel like the original piece, just enough that you weren't missing out on the song and the motif being referenced, but also not so much that you couldn't recognize it, which is the perfect balance. Studio EIM does an amazing job with making all of these songs kind of tie together. I love that. I absolutely adore that when musicians and composers do this sort of thing when they write music. They make these references to other pieces that had gone prior. That's the definition of a leitmotif after all, but it's like when it's done so damn well, you can't help but just get hyped about it, and I love that I have this context now. I didn't know that there was going to be a song that it borrowed from. I just didn't get that memo beforehand, but I'm so glad that I was informed and people wanted me to listen to this one to add that context, and this in itself is a great song completely on its own. I really do love how it felt syncopated all the way through. There were multiple sections in this that had slightly different beat patterns going on at the same time, and it made the whole structure of the song kind of turn into this melding just pile of sound. Like the rhythmic structure was pretty clear, but it had so many different little things happening at different times between the piano, which is still technically a percussion instrument, and then all of the drum stuff going on and all the sound design that was kind of sat on top of the overall 4/4 beat and just kind of affecting the feel throughout. It just never felt like it was settling into any one sound. It felt completely confused. Like the song itself was beautifully constructed in its chaos, and I think that that is really neat. I think they nailed that, and then again, having the context of what comes after it and hearing how they distorted that to make it feel even just a little bit more off by stripping out some of those layers and the rhythmic stuff, but then adding that corruption in the melody. That gives me the feeling that maybe the structure of the creature or the person you're fighting in the boss version is a little bit more understood of what they're trying to do. Like they understand their roots, but their intention is completely skewed. Whereas in this one, the roots aren't there, but it feels a little bit more clear in its direction of what it's trying to say. And that's a really cool juxtaposition to have between the two versions, and why I love it when leitmotif works perfectly like this. So this is a very top tier, highest of the shelf example of how to do that motif work and make that relationship happen and really shine. Borrowing and skewing different parts of the same theme in order for it to serve a different purpose is exactly what leitmotifs should do. You should always bring it back up as a remembrance of something prior, and even a corruption or a confusion of something else, a bastardization, if you will. And sometimes the exact opposite. You want it to reference something that's maybe a little sad, you get that melancholy in there, or something extremely joyful that came from a sad moment. Having those extremes be the result is what, for me, is like the core of leitmotif work. So I think this is a fantastic example and should be used in case studies worldwide for how to make that relationship really work. This is a great pair, and I'm gonna keep nerding out about it. I need to stop talking because I've been going on about this for a few minutes now, and if I don't stop myself, as per usual, I'll be yapping for the next 10 minutes. So thank you all so very much for watching. Thank you to everybody who said I should listen to this one. Now it makes sense. Now I have that full context, and I love that, and it feels so fulfilling having that and being able to put all those pieces together. It's like the puzzle is finally complete with these songs, and I didn't even know there was pieces missing until recently, so that's really cool. So thank you all so very much again for requesting this one and let me listen to it. And of course, if you have any other songs from Limbus Company or Library of Runa that I haven't gotten to, or any other thing from any other Project Moon property I haven't even gotten to yet, maybe, leave it in the comments below and I will do my best to get to it as always. And of course, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for those videos in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!